Have you ever wondered why some people don't need validation, don't post their life, don't explain themselves? They just do things quietly. No noise, no announcements, no applause, and somehow they still get things done. That's not personality. That's conditioning. And if you understand where it came from, you'll understand an entire generation no one talks about. Because while everyone argues about millennials or Gen Z, there's a group in the middle, silent, observing, working. Generation X and their psychology might be the most misunderstood of all. Imagine this. You're 8 years old. School ends. You walk home. You open the door. And no one is there. No phone. No messages. No one checking if you arrived. Just silence. This wasn't rare. This was normal. Millions of kids grew up like this. And something important happened in that silence. They learned one simple rule. No one is coming. So they adapted. They made decisions alone, solved problems alone, handled consequences alone. And when you grow up like that, your brain changes. You stop expecting help. You start thinking ahead. Always. Not because you're negative, but because you've seen what happens when you don't. That's why Gen X can feel different. They're not anxious. They're prepared. They run simulations in their head. What if this goes wrong? What's the backup plan? Not fear, pattern recognition, but then something else happened. They watched adults say one thing and do another. Be loyal, work hard, do the right thing, and then divorces, layoffs, broken promises. The message became clear. The system doesn't always protect you. People don't always stay. So they built something invisible, emotional distance, not because they don't feel, but because they learned. Attachment can hurt, and that explains something most people misunderstand. Why they don't live online. It's not that they don't understand technology. They built most of it. It's that they remember something we forgot. Privacy. There was a time when mistakes disappeared. You said something stupid. Maybe 5 people knew, and then it was gone. Now, everything stays. Forever. So to them, sharing everything isn't freedom. It's exposure, risk. And their brain doesn't like risk without control. So they watch. They observe. They understand everything, but say nothing. There's also a strange trait they developed. They joke about everything. Nothing feels too serious. Everything is a little ironic. That's not random. That's protection. Because imagine growing up in a world where people told you everything is fine, while preparing you for worst-case scenarios, Cold War drills, economic fear, uncertainty everywhere. When reality feels unstable, you learn to detach. You laugh, so you don't panic. But here's the part no one talks about. Despite all this, Gen X became extremely capable. Not loud, not visible, but reliable. They don't talk about hustle. They don't post productivity tips. They just show up. Because responsibility came early. Real responsibility. Jobs as kids. Paper routes. Cash registers. Fixing things with their hands. No tutorials. No guides. Just figure it out. And they did. So they stopped chasing approval and started chasing competence, because approval can disappear. Skill doesn't. That's why they respect one thing above everything else. Not status, not titles, but ability. If you know what you're doing, they respect you. If you don't, they see it immediately, and they won't say it out loud, but they will stop trusting you. Now here's the paradox. They are independent, but deeply loyal. They won't ask for help, but if you need help, they show up. Quietly. No announcement, no credit, because growing up alone taught them something rare. If no one helps you, you become the one who helps others. But there's a cost. They struggle to open up, not because they don't want to, but because it feels unnatural. Asking for help feels like failure. Needing someone feels risky, so they carry things alone, even when they don't have to. And then life kept hitting them. Recessions, market crashes, instability again, and again. So they adapted again. Multiple income streams, backup plans, low expectations, not pessimism, experience. They learned one rule: nothing lasts forever. So don't rely on one thing. And maybe that's why they don't need applause, because they never built their identity on it. They built it on survival, on competence, on doing what needs to be done, even when no one is watching. Gen X is not louder than other generations, not more visible, not more celebrated, but they are something else. They are the bridge between a world without internet and a world that lives inside it, between silence and constant noise. And bridges don't get attention. They don't get applause. They just hold everything together. So if you're from Gen X, this probably feels familiar. And if you're not, now you understand that quiet person in your life, the one who never talks about themselves, never complains, never asks, but always delivers. Because they weren't raised with applause. They were raised with reality, and that changes everything.